are both licensed clinical social workers, and we're also Vietnam veterans. So we don't have to try to understand the veteran. We know the veteran because we are veterans. And that gives us an insight into veterans' problems. Yep.
What are some of the challenges or obstacles that face?
Oh, wow. It's called denial. That's not a river in Egypt. What it is, it's in every veteran's heart and mind. When the veteran comes home, he or she comes home to a place that is not the same as when they left. And they're not the same as when they left. And consequently, I think that's the biggest challenge, is readjusting into our society and back into their families properly. And that's basically what we do. We're the readjustment specialists. That's what we do.
What are some improvements that could help future veterans, say the next war when they come home? What do you think, what would be ideal for you to see them come home as?
Yeah, what would make it easier for them to transition back into society and into their families? I think when you speak of veterans coming home, the first thing you want to do is see your family. And I believe if veterans, instead of being debriefed for 2 weeks at Fort Drum or at Fort Dix, would be able to see their families for just maybe a weekend or a couple of days before they reported back for debriefing, I think that would really help matters a lot. Some of that is being done right now. Also, the Defense Department of Defense computers don't talk to the VA computers. They're incompatible computer systems. So when veterans come home and they're wounded or they're hospitalized, a lot of times that information doesn't get transferred with them to the VA hospital where they're being treated. And sometimes it could be very life-threatening if the proper information is not processed and known.
Are you personally working on any projects right now?
Been working for a couple of years with other vet center counselors in New England, and we've been welcoming home National Guards people and reservists that have come back. In fact, last weekend I was at a drill in which it was a mandatory drill for Marine reservists, and we had also National Guards people come. And what we did was we pretty much processed them through. The VA and the vet centers work hand in glove in order to make sure the veteran gets every opportunity to have any needs met. We have a small 16-box screening tool that we use that points up any problems a veteran may have that they might not think much of because they're in denial, because that's for other people. That won't happen to me. And as we discuss and meet, it turns out that many veterans that I see in these types of affairs come to understand, gee whiz, yeah, I really do have a problem with that. I was kind of handling it, but it's getting harder and it's getting harder. I'll give you a short example, if I may. An Iraqi coming back who's a truck driver or a convoy gun truck driver, coming back tends to want to drive in the center of the road, because on the sides of the road for the past year there have been IEDs blowing up. Anybody that gets in their way in a convoy over there, they have to keep moving, keep the convoy moving. And the people know that, and other vehicles on the road have to give way to the convoy. If they don't, they're pushed out of the way. And maybe if it's a suicide terrorist, then that one convoy vehicle is sacrificed for the good of the convoy, but it manages to hopefully push that vehicle off to the side. So when truck drivers come back, they have a tendency, when someone passes them rather abruptly, to want to push them over with their SUV. I don't know of anybody that has actually done that, but I do know that several of the Global War on Terror veterans I've been seeing have indicated to me they have those kinds of problems.
Lastly, do you find that issues that vets have differ from the wars, like say Vietnam
Hmm.
or, to the Iraq
Yeah,
like, is it,
good question. I think the more the wars change, the more things stay the same, because people really don't change. People are the same. And you read wars from the Greek times and the Roman times, and the people are still the same. They hurt, they bleed. The only thing different about wars these days, I think, is our improved technologies. Because now we're in a position where you push a button and a robot will go out and do the shooting for you. Or you have a drone that's high and dropping missiles down on targets without risking any human life. Then you have people in helicopter gunships that are sending missiles off to go over a mountain or around a hill to a target that is being painted with a laser by another soldier on the ground. So these are the kinds of things that would differentiate wars now from what they used to be. Used to be you and I would go at it with sword and shield, and if I stuck you and you stuck me, we bleed all over each other. But people still die.
oh,
Yeah, the VA hospital system and the vet centers work together to assist veterans in areas that are complementary. For example, the VA healthcare system deals with the physical injuries and problems that veterans have. They also have good social workers, psychologists, and psychiatrists on staff that help assist with the mental health and emotional health needs of veterans. However, the vet centers have a special niche in that we're there for veterans for particular purposes. We're there to help them with grief and bereavement issues. If a veteran, say, dies in Iraq or Afghanistan, I go out and see the family at their request and give them grief and bereavement counseling. We're the only part of the Veterans Administration that does that kind of counseling. We also do marriage and family counseling. We do couples counseling, individual counseling, one-on-one. We'll do group counseling. We run 4 groups here at this vet center every week. And each of us sees many, many vets and new ones coming in every week. That's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm afraid of the wave that's going to come or that is coming. However, Congress has seen fit to increase the Veterans Administration's budget, and they've also seen fit to increase the vet center's budget. So hopefully we'll be getting some more help online to take care of the expanding need of the soldiers that are coming. One thing I need to talk about too, if I may, is just mention the delayed onset of the post-traumatic stress disorder. Because the post-traumatic stress disorder is really basically a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. If you see someone die in front of you, that's usually not normal if you grow up in our society. Sometimes you see that, but more often than not, most of us won't. When we're in war, we see that a lot, and we see dead bodies, and we see things that are totally horrific to our thinking. So it's like we're a different person, and we put up a wall of numbness. And these are the kinds of things that come back to haunt us in dreams, and these are the kinds of things that when we get a trigger, something that reminds us of an event that took place, or of an incident that happened, or of somebody that we saw die who was a friend of ours or very close. That brings up the same feeling and the thought and the memory, and then we don't know what to do with it. Well, here we take and we deal with those things in a very personal and private way. And in group settings, we do it together. And buddies helping buddies. And we also do military sexual trauma counseling. Many times, unfortunately, women as well as men are sexually traumatized and taken advantage of in wartime situations.